Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I must confess, I've never been a fan of Escape from Tarkov, or games in the extraction genre at all. I can respect those games for what they are and recognize that a certain subset of gamers adore the tense and tactical gameplay that they provide, where any move could be your last, and making mistakes when engaging an enemy means losing gear you've spent possibly hours obtaining. That elevator pitch almost sounds appealing, until you watch the gameplay or play for yourself, and then you're met with the stark reality that this is a game that is slow moving and very complicated. This has kept many people from diving into the series with too much gusto. So, in that way, it makes sense that so many studios have been working to create their own game that finds a balance between the casual play and the hardcore aspects that existing fans of the genre have fallen in love with. Chasing trends isn't anything new for video games. The avalanche of battle royale shooters coming to market after the explosion of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is very reminiscent of the current pivot by developers to extraction shooters. We all know how that went. Some games like Fortnite saw success, and in that example, even overtook PUBG in popularity. However, many other challengers fell by the wayside. Games like Radical Heights, The Culling, Realm Royale came and went without so much as a lasting mark on the gaming landscape. The trend even appealed to major studios as Call of Duty tried to make their own battle royale, first with Blackout, which, for what it's worth, I actually enjoyed, but it failed, then with Warzone, which managed to establish a foothold in the industry. Other studios weren't so lucky, as Battlefield tried to add a version to Battlefield 1, but that ended up failing to capture the attention of the audience. And then they started to work on a game built from the ground up to be a battle royale before changing it at the last minute into a more traditional Battlefield with 2042. The most insane attempt to capitalize on the trend was Bethesda adding a battle royale mode to Fallout 76. The title was struggling to gain players at the time, and they thought that the best way to fix it wasn't to make it more like a normal Fallout title, but to add a battle royale mode in Nuclear Winter. The game mode lasted from June 2019 to September 21, and ultimately they realized that it was better to add NPCs to the game than force a battle royale mode on a game where shooting isn't even like a good part of the experience. I can't really fault those studios too much. Battle Royale was a gold mine, and they wanted to try their luck and follow in the footsteps of Fortnite. PUBG had sold over 75 million copies and has an all-time player peak of over 3 million players on Steam. Even in the past 24 hours at the time of writing this, the peak was over 700,000 players. Fortnite has generated over 40 billion in revenue according to DemandStage and has over 110 million active monthly users. The battle royale genre has produced legitimate hits, which makes games like Marathon so confusing to me. Escape from Tarkov is the current king of the genre, but the genre hasn't exploded into popularity due to the degree of difficulty I talked about before. The issue is that difficulty makes the experience what it is. It's what's appealing to fans of the genre, hardcore players who spend most of their time playing Tarkov. Marathon was a much anticipated follow up to Destiny 2 for Bungie. They had the opportunity to make any kind of game they wanted, and they went with an extraction shooter. Still, I believe many people were, like me, and cautiously optimistic. This was Bungie after all. Surely they could make a game that appealed to people like me who didn't necessarily love the extraction genre. Unfortunately, the reaction to the gameplay trailer confirmed my and many others' worst fears. Marathon looked more like a casual Tarkov with some Apex Legends mixed in, and the internet was, to put it lightly, not impressed. I've seen people already compare it to Concord as a potential failure. I don't believe it will actually be that much of a disaster, but ultimately, until they allow players to try it out in an open beta, the initial negative reception to the trailer will be all anyone thinks about. On the other hand, Arc Raiders by Embark Studios has seen a much more positive reaction. Granted, IGN did call it, quote, the most fine game they've played, close quote, but that's still better than Marathon. There is room for Fortnite to Tarkov's PUBG, but I still think the general audience for the genre is just too small. Worse still, many other developers are releasing their own extraction shooters. A quick Google search pulls up results for a game called Nightmare Frontier, which will be a turn based extraction shooter. Then there's Exoborn and Hunger, among others, coming soon. I just don't see the demand for this type of a game. Perhaps I'll be wrong. There's a chance that a certain type of extraction shooter captures the imagination and attention of the masses. However, if I'm not, then this is setting up to be a disaster for nearly every studio trying to be that Fortnite to PUBG. Even if a few succeed, many more will fail, and they'll only have themselves to blame. Ultimately, I do believe that Arc Raiders is the one that's best positioned to have a chance of success. It already has quite positive word of mouth from gamers, and its artistic style leans more realistic than cartoony. I think the art style of a game like Marathon takes some getting used to. And if people aren't clamoring to play the game in the first place, well, then it's unlikely that they'll have the time to get used to the style. But what do you think? Are you a fan of extraction shooters? Even if you are, do you think that so many different extraction shooters can coexist and succeed? Or are you skeptical like I am? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you so much for checking out this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, we have video op-ed essays like this coming out every single week. And then we also have other channels, including Those Fake Nerds, where we cover nerd pop culture news, Wicked Good Sports, where we cover sports news, and Better Radio, which hosts all of our podcasts. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.